Hannity, which is how he should be pronounced from now on. You got to give him credit. The dude is going full Trump orange right now. I mean, you can't argue with. Hold on, how does this? Bring this page up a little bit so that I can bring the picture down a little on my screen. There we go. That's a little better. This is going to be probably the exact same talking point filtered through, orange being the new black. Here's Sean Hannity. Never forget Biden failed America. Apparently people are starting to forget, or he wouldn't have to bring it up. Yeah, 904 people just watching on YouTube. Pretty spectacular. If I could get the Twitch numbers up, to a respectable number like that, then we're in business, kids. We're giving the big dogs a run for their money already. I'm very impressed. And hi, everybody on Instagram who's watching on IGTV as well, who are watching either now or later or something like that. And yeah, you guys will watch it later on. Or the folks at Facebook, bless you for being here. Appreciate it. I do. And of course, Twitter, you're a beautiful mess. You really are. Come on, Twitch folks. Jump over here. Guys, spread the love. Raid me. That sounded naughty. All right, here we go. This is Hannity. Never forget that Biden failed America. And he's only got to make this video because apparently people are forgetting that Biden is failing America. Or, more likely, don't believe it.
You just watch.
Sorry, hold on. There we go.
And welcome to the special edition of Hannity. Biden's Afghanistan.
Why is it special? I can tell one of the reasons why it's special. A, you got a haircut. You and Tucker both got haircuts today. Also, your face and your hands. Here's my face and here's my hands, okay? Notice something? You notice something about the skin tone? The shirt, like, this is yellow, so you can get kind of an idea of what color situation is going on here. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. This is straight up Trump orange. This is like, it's like, when you forget you have oranges and they've been in the fruit bowl for a long time and there's like a banana covering it, and then you take the banana off and underneath it, there's this awful degraded orange with fur on top of it. Seriously. Yeah, he is rocking the burnt sienna today. Semantic romantic. It's totally true. Look at that. We might have to give him 5 oranges. Rumple orange skin. Oh my God. You think he's going to run for president in 2024? They're going to do we'll call it the great replacement, or they're claiming that there's going to be, the white supremacists claim the great replacement is happening in the United States. There is an actual great replacement going on, because they always project whatever's going on everyone else. And obviously they're going to swap out Sean Hannity for Trump in the next election and hope no one notices. If he starts dyeing his hair blonde, you watch. You watch.
Disaster. Now, for the hour, we're going to review Joe Biden's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Because nobody seems to care. They recognize it was going to be difficult no matter what happened. Everybody, including Republicans, are like, yeah, well, shit, 20 years. It's going to be a bit gnarly. And there was never a government nor a military worth salvaging anyways, apparently. So we were lied to the last 4 years, particularly. Mike...
Being Americans behind enemy lines. We'll cover.
He loves the behind enemy lines line. It's just that's his, that's the chorus to his Christmas Carol right now. He's got to say that.
Idiotic planning, the poor decision making, the more
unfit to lead. Apparently, George Washington approved. Love this guy. Fantastic. Oh, wooden teeth fell out.
Cowardice from a president who is clearly not fit to lead this country.
If there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
It's easy to second guess.
We do take care of our own. We leave nobody behind.
Yeah, this is a Republican ad he's playing. which should show you what's up. You can't even afford to have fiber cut this piece together for him. Sean, you have a whole staff. Have them cut something like this together. You can get the free music.
The administration has managed that as well as it could be managed under the circumstances we were placed in.
It's what America's all about. It's about pulling together, leaving nobody behind.
By the way, he's talking about economics there particularly, but they're like leaving no one behind. Well, guess what? A bunch of those folks didn't want to leave or didn't believe we were actually leaving, so they didn't make any preparations because they thought, oh, it's bullshit. I know they said May 1st. They don't mean May 1st. They said August 31st. They don't mean August 31st. It's been 20 years of this shit. They're not going anywhere. And then when we actually left, they were like, holy fuck, they left. I thought, yeah, we said we were going to leave. Yeah, but you always say you're going to leave, and you never left before.
Couldn't this have been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree.
Americans held hostage.
Oh, now I know why. Now I know why they had to air the other footage from Fiverr and why they had because they blew their whole wad on this graphic. Who designed this? Michael Flynn. Look at and the Hannity right down there, like a little cod piece on the whole graphic. Day 20. We're gonna drag this shit out as long as we can. Americans held hostage, abandoned behind enemy lines. Day 20. Wait a minute. Day 20. It's the 6th. We left on the 31st. Talk about measuring your dick by starting at your butthole. What? Sorry, but Sean Hannity, we've just discovered that that's how Sean Hannity measures his dick. Thanks. Sorry. That's cheating, by the way. Isn't that how you measure that? No, it's not, Jespo. That's cheating. Does the prostate count? No, it doesn't. Sean starts measuring at the guy behind him. Day 20. All right. Fucking hell. Apparently my watch does not. It is. I had to look at my watch. I'm like, what fucking day is this? Like, you got me for a second there, Sean. You got me. Yeah, it's year 20. Exactly, Michael Richards. Holy shit. Oh my God. It's the 6th. What? What do you mean day 20?
Behind enemy lines. Day 20.
And they had the announcer at Fox actually record that shit?
Americans held hostage. Abandoned behind enemy lines. Day 20.
Okay, first of all, shit mix. I know I'm one to throw stones about audio, but I'm doing this by myself. They have a whole goddamn studio there in a $1 billion operation. Mix the vocals higher. The hell's wrong with you? If it's too hot, add a little compression. Come on, man.
All right, day 20, Americans held hostage, held behind enemy lines of the Taliban terrorists. And tonight we begin in May, 1 month before the Taliban's fighting season. Now, this was President Trump's deadline for withdrawal. Now,
I'm sorry. Say what? Sorry?
Fighting season. Now, this was President Trump's deadline for withdrawal. Now, if, and it's a big if, the Taliban, if they followed through with all of their promises, because they knew if they broke any rules, harmed any Americans, killed any of our allies, they knew under Donald Trump the consequences they would. Yeah,
the consequences would be we would stay forever. And we didn't even give a shit if the Taliban did it.
Dire. And according to President
They'd
Trump,
be dire. Yes, dire for America.
no matter what, the United States would
Yeah, that base looks fantastic. Doesn't look at all like a set used in the Expendables.
maintain control of Bagram Air Force Base in perpetuity. We built it. We paid for it. We own it. We're keeping it. But then
What? No, we're fucking leaving. We're not keeping every base. This is the asshole who wanted to pull us out of Japan, out of Okinawa, and out of South Korea, and out of Germany. You don't think we paid for the base in Germany, Sean? What are you talking about? Why would we stay? For what? Why would we send American soldiers into harm's way to man a base we don't need?
Joe Biden, the self-proclaimed foreign policy expert, and his clueless advisors arbitrarily pushing the withdrawal date to August. Okay.
Arbitrarily? I'm sorry, May was a magic number, was it? If May, Sean, perhaps work with me on this. If May was a magic number and that's when we had to get out because the fighting season was going to begin, right? That was, and I never know when to shop. Is Black Friday the last Friday before May 1st? I always forget. But at what point would we, if May 1st was the magic date, would we start planning to evacuate all the special immigrant visa folks that helped us? Would it be somewhere around January, February at the latest? Especially if you were losing. I mean, if you lost the election, you're going through and somebody else taking over. Hey guys, we're midway through this process. You guys got to get out these special immigrant visa folks if you're going to be out by May 1st. That's the date we set, right? Right, Sean? Oh, right. No, fuck those people. We don't care if they're there or not.
Or in the peak Taliban fighting season. Then Biden did nothing as the Taliban terrorists began what was a full-scale assault on our Afghan allies, and they began their march that led them...
Did nothing? We were leaving. Do you think we would have done something May 2nd if we'd have gotten out on Trump's deadline? They started marching because Trump gave them a date.
...to taking control of Kabul. And that started in April, and then May, and then June, and July, and then August. And instead of fighting back at any point and pushing back on the Taliban and hold...
You mean adding more soldiers and putting them in harm's way to claim land we never intended to keep and that there was no functioning government or military to hold? What the fuck are you talking about? I've heard some dumb arguments about this shit, but this is singularly the worst. Sean Hannity is not only saying we should have kept Bagram, but that as the Taliban pushed across after the date Trump had told them, nah, knock yourself the fuck out, we'll be out, didn't engage the Afghan government, didn't show any support for them at all, which meant that the military was like, they're going to fall as soon as the Americans leave, whether Trump is there or not. But Sean Hannity wants, what, how many soldiers? 20,000? What are we going to do? Strafe bomb entire villages as the Taliban moves through them? Do you think it was just like a game of fucking Risk? You think these are plastic people? I'm dead serious. This is singularly the dumbest take I've heard so far. And I mean, I should have been a dead giveaway, Sean, that you think apparently this is a 20-day endeavor. It's 6 days after.
Them accountable, as Donald Trump said he would, and stop their advance. Biden ordered a full-scale retreat, abandoning base after base in the middle of the night.
We weren't staying. We weren't even going to stay May 1st. Where does this even come from? I mean, besides the fact that this dickhead wants poor people's kids from the United States to handhold the Afghan military that was never going to stand on its own, put themselves in harm's way, live in 122-degree fucking heat for nothing. The only thing that they want is that they believe there is a strategic benefit to a base, as if we need a landing spot to take off from to get our jets and stuff into China or Russia. which we don't, by the way. Our planes have plenty of range. We do not need to stop for gas in Afghanistan. Our satellites do not need to hang out over the Afghan territory watching for people attacking our own bases when they would be better off looking at other countries. I'm dead serious. I have no idea what the fuck what his argument is here. Because this is this is 180 degrees even from Trump we got to get out when he ran in 2016. There's in-flight refueling. Exactly, Beth. 968 people in the chat. We're going to hit 1,000. I'm calling it. Especially if you guys share the show, like and subscribe, give it a thumbs up. The thumbs up, by the way, as you give it to the live stream, bounces us up in the algorithm. Same thing happens on Facebook, you guys. So if you give a thumbs up or a like or a laugh or use any of the other icons that are available, it will get you. See, it's not. You can go back and correct a word if you say it wrong. It's not. You don't have to roll on Hungo and pretend. So yeah, there's almost 300 people in Twitch. Fantastic. Good to see you. Look at that. Don't forget to subscribe over there. Use Amazon Prime. Doesn't cost you a dime. And we now return to Sean Hannity with the single dumbest take there is. I think we all owe Diamond and Silk an apology. This is farging dumb.
Leaving weapons and aircraft and military gear, important biometrics data behind.
Important. He means the eyeball scanners that if they're not linked up, don't have the information on who's who in them anyways. And they don't even know the code. It's not like it. These things, you don't hold them up and they turn green if it's a good guy or red if it's a bad guy. Like, I don't know what kind of sci-fi bullshit they think. There's codes with it so that if you picked it up and you scan somebody like this, like no one's thought about this shit getting into enemy hands. No one's ever considered this in the military. What if they got a hold of one of these things? They could just run around a city scanning people in the eyes. And if it turns green, they shoot them in the fucking head. It doesn't work that way. They don't know the code unless somebody's there to tell them. And the people on the receiving end who aren't military, who aren't American military, don't know the fucking code. So they can scan it all goddamn day. It's not going to help. And by the time they figure out what the code might be, they're gone.
All for the Taliban's taking. He's now armed them completely. In private, Joe Biden knew that his Afghanistan.
I appreciate this cute betrayal. You know, large font. They're trying. Impact. Is that impact? I think that is. As far as the fonts go, and there's a little depth to it. That's a little quality. It does look like he's shouting at the flag. Which I think is a little more patriotic ultimately than rubbing your dick on it like Trump did.
And policies.
Hungo definitely needs to be a soundbite. I agree, Susan.
They were rapidly collapsing. But instead of being honest.
Dude, you are sniffing a whole lot. I don't know whatever the mixture is that Trump is sending you, but it's giving you the same stupid ideas.
With we, the American people, instead of warning Americans that were there while we had control of Kabul, warning our allies while we had control and telling them
that we're actually fucking leaving this time, that we mean it, that we're not bullshitting the way Trump did for 4 goddamn years.
We're gonna speed up this withdrawal, leave immediately.
Speed it up? We extended it to August, you fucking moron. What do you mean?
He goes on national TV and said, no, everything's great. One of the best trained armies in the world.
Right. Yeah, that's what they're saying in public so that the Taliban wouldn't seize more land quicker. If they actually thought there might be some pushback, they might wait about 6 hours before opening fire on a bunch of dudes. Like if they actually believe something's going to happen. If the president goes on television and goes, Afghan military? What a bunch of pushovers. Without us, they're going to fall in like a fucking house of cards in a hurricane. This is ridiculous. And the Afghan government, go fuck yourself. That dude's out the door with 168 million bucks the second we say go.
Promised that the Afghan army was more than capable of defending the country. So
right, asshole. Meanwhile, telling the embassy staff and everybody else, get the fuck out now. I still don't understand how he thinks this is an argument. That Biden should have gone on and quote unquote told the truth, as it were. As if that, like mentioning that the Afghan government was shaky and that the military was fucked up, as if that would not have put more lives in danger immediately. Not just from the Taliban moving across, by the way, and emboldening them, but ISIS as well. Like, oh shit, the government's not going to be able to hold it back. Al-Qaeda's making their way in here. We should move in first. Sean Hannity molests colleagues. It's very Caddyshack.
Right. The same month that he's going to tell, oh, that's right, the president of Afghanistan to lie. Look.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well equipped as any army in the world.
All true, by the way, but you can't replace heart, and you also can't replace will. You cannot install will in another human being. The other thing, too, is what's the alternative here? Is the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan inevitable? Yeah, afraid so. These fuckers, I mean, there's 3,000 of them, but they're all fucking cream puffs. What do you want to say? I mean, honestly, that would have gotten more people killed. 7 more for 1,000. It's going to happen. I believe in it. I'm visualizing that number. It's going to even go higher.
Against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable.
None of that was true, and we now know Joe Biden knew it wasn't true. Joe Biden lied to you, the American.
No. Joe Biden lied to the Taliban via American cameras, because the alternative would have gotten more Americans killed. By the way, that lie that he's complaining about, that the military is great and the Taliban are going to get knocked out, that is the same lie that has been used to keep us in Afghanistan for 10 fucking years. That is exactly the same lie. Oh yeah, the military's great. They're this close. The government's rock solid. There's no reason why they would fall. We just need to be there for a little bit longer. Just a small residual force. It's the same lie. The same lie.
Right there. And we have the proof to show you. And now, according to a leaked phone call conversation and transcript from July, courtesy of Reuters, we know that Joe Biden also encouraged the Afghan president to lie as well and change.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you go out there and say, I'm out of here, you're going to get our people killed. I'm dead serious. Like, how do you know how much contempt Sean Hannity has to have for the regular Fox viewer? How moronic he has to believe they are to even, they've been doing, this is like the 10th time he's done this exact same graphic, the same bullshit story. And I really have a hard time believing that, especially the pro-Ted Nugent militia types who all have read the manga version of Sun Tzu's The Art of War and view themselves as military geniuses, that none of them would go, oh yeah, you got to puff up these assholes till we can get out. I mean, you don't yell that, like, you stand in front of a house, there's somebody inside and they're armed. You're alone. We have the place surrounded. Come out with your hands up. Come out the front door, put your guns down. Nobody's going to hurt you. We have the place surrounded. You don't have the place surrounded. How could you lie to the American people on that block? Just because you're trying to get the hostages out of that house without a shot being fired and keep yourself from getting killed, why would you lie so loudly? I'm out here by myself. I'm down to 1 bullet. I know you have a stockpile of weapons in there, but tell you what, send out the women and children and I won't shoot myself on your lawn. This is the strategic genius of Sean Hannity.
Perception, whether it's true or not.
Dude, sniff more. For fuck's sake.
You need to just project a different picture that all is great. Joe needed a political win. So perception was...
No, he needed the Taliban to not think that they were fighting marshmallows so we could get our fucking people out.
Important than the reality that we all know Joe knew and the rest of the world knew. And so in July, while engaging and encouraging Ghani to change perceptions, Biden abandoned Bagram Air Base in the middle of the night. In doing so, he left every American and every one of our Afghan allies in Kabul totally, completely defenseless. And in
What are you talking about? We had 6,000 troops at the fucking airport. This is, and again, this goes to the same keen military instinct. The cunning, the instinct. You must have trained under him. You have the same gleam in your eye. That this Sean Hannity thinks it would have been better to take the entire embassy staff, all their family, all the Afghans, 126,000 people, and instead of taking them a quarter of a mile to the airport, which had 6 gates and we could secure, take them down an hour and 20 minutes through the open desert to a base with 1 entrance. What do you think the delays getting out would have been like in that situation?
month, the Taliban easily marched to the outskirts of Afghanistan's capital city. Not prepared to take control of such a large city, well, Washington Post is now telling us the Taliban actually...
Listen to this sniffing. God damn. This is straight up Trump stuff. I mean, you can tell he's been hanging with Trump and they've been snorting the same stuff. Whatever it is, it's that whole, you having a hard time staying awake for your show? I guess after you've been gacking yourself on stimulants a little too much there, Sean, it takes a bigger and bigger dose to keep you awake, huh? Ouch. Taliban offered Kabul to U.S., but America said no. Yeah, you guys want to keep the whole city?
Offered not to invade Kabul, to let Joe Biden keep it. Joe Biden, according to their report, said no thanks. The city's...
We did this before, but hold on one second. There is 4.4 million people in Kabul. The Taliban said, you guys can run security on the whole fucking city, or we can do it. And we were like, nah, we're just getting our people out through the airport. It's a fucking quarter mile. We're not putting 20,000 soldiers on the ground at every road coming into fucking Kabul to hold it for you till we leave. What? Honest to God, who? They don't even bother to look this shit up? Morons. This is stunning. 4.4 million people. Yeah, hey, you guys want to secure the whole city? We can do it. No, we have one stretch of road. We'll tell you which roads we're going to use. But no, of course not. And by the way, is Sean Hannity suggesting? Let's see. What's a equally large? Let's see. Just see. Let's see what the Sana'a population is. There you go. So, the capital of Yemen. Hell, that's only 3/4 as big, pretty much, give or take. 2.5. Was it? What was the other one? Was it? Were we at? Yeah, 4.4. So 2 million short of that. 2.5 million in 2017. Anyways, God knows these days. How many American soldiers would we need on the ground to provide door-to-door security in fucking Sana'a? That's the capital of Yemen, by the way. Is Sean Hannity suggesting, by the way, that we send in enough soldiers, American soldiers, to seize the capital? I mean, they're firing on the Saudis all the time.
Yours. We'll just retreat. Just let us have the airport. And guess what? The perimeter around the airport, that's yours too. But don't worry, Biden was telling us, the American people, he planned for every contingency. He promised the United States would not.
Yes, they did. They planned for every contingency. Just because you plan for something doesn't mean that it will stop it from happening. You can't handle every contingency.
Leave any American behind. He said that over and over and over again, but you might remember this.
The commitment holds to get everyone out that, in fact, we can get out and everyone should come out. And that's the objective. That's what we're doing now. That's the path we're on. And I think we'll get there.
So Americans should understand that troops might have to be there beyond August 31st.
No, Americans should understand that we're going to try to get it done before August 31st.
But if we don't, the troops will stay.
If we don't, we'll determine at the time who's left.
And
if there are American forces, if there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
We're going to stay till we get
Yeah, they weren't left. The people who didn't leave, didn't want to go, or didn't believe it, and stuck around. Well, fuck it. They're going to stick around.
them all out. Joe Biden once again lying to the American people. We're seeing around the airport.
And Sean Hannity lying to the American people that he and his orange buddy Trump were ever intending to get the fuck out. Ever.
It was horrific. Thousands of people rushing to get in. Many trampled to death. Many were beaten and gassed at Taliban checkpoints. There were scenes of...
Well, at least those folks, Diamond and Silk don't have to worry about those folks coming here. That's the upside, I suppose.
Babies being passed to U.S. soldiers, mothers and fathers literally even throwing them over walls with barbed wire and razor wire. It took out.
Yeah, and by the way, that's another talking point we heard about throwing kids like they were fucking go long, They handed them up to people like that, and people were catching them like that. They weren't throwing them into fucking barbed wire and having to cut them out.
Sometimes days for anyone to even get to the airport gates, and American citizens, those with American visas, they were all left to fend for themselves. While other countries like France, the UK, the Dutch, they were sending special forces behind enemy lines. They were extracting their...
Behind enemy lines? Were they? Were they, Sean? They were sending people behind enemy lines? Or were they driving out in sedans and picking people up and not firing a shot either?
citizens.
Yeah. Dublin pump. Yeah, it was a perfect spiral. That kid's going to be just boom, like the Heisman Trophy given out to soldiers for baby catching.
U.S. forces were under enemy lines. They were extracting their citizens. U.S. forces were under strict instructions not to leave the airport walls. As a result, many Americans turned to private security agencies, spending tens of thousands of dollars to secure safe passage to the airport. Make no mistake. Hey,
Hal, do you have any video of the Oklahoma rep that was flying to large sums of cash into Kabul and kept getting denied landing by the State Department? Claims the money was to pay Taliban to get 20 guys out. I don't have the footage of him, Martine, but I will look for it. High school pal died today after 2 weeks on a ventilator. He was 48 years old. Husband, dad, huge Trump supporter. He died to own the libs. Man, I'm so sad and angry. I'm sorry, Deanne. It's heartbreaking, the number of people who we're hearing these stories about, and I don't want to hear a single one. I don't like the schadenfreude that comes from it. I don't like, any of the talk about irony. It's just fucking pathetic. And it's because of this asshole and everybody who works at his place, which, by the way, you have to have a vaccine card to even enter the goddamn building at Fox. So they believe in vaccine passports on, by private firms in public indoor spaces.
No safe passage. Matter of fact, State Department memos to people in Afghanistan said, we cannot guarantee your safety, but you might...
Yeah, asshole. It's Afghanistan. Look at that fucking place. No one. The Taliban couldn't guarantee anyone's safety. That's how ISIS ended up blowing people up. You think ISIS can guarantee any of their people's safety? What are you talking about? It's fucking Afghanistan.
Make your way to the airport. How comforting. On Thursday, August the 26th, a suicide bomber detonated a massive bomb at the gates of the airport. That killed 13 brave U.S. servicemen and women and more than 150 others. Yes, their blood is on Joe Biden's hands because all of this could easily have been prevented.
Yeah, if we had just never left, if we'd have just stayed over the next 4 years, we would have lost 64 soldiers like we did in the last 4 years. But it would have been over time, and you wouldn't have even heard about it. Sean wouldn't be talking about it. We'd just be still in Afghanistan. If Trump had still been in office, we'd have blown off May 1st. We'd have stayed in there. They'd have talked about this occasionally. Trump would have probably mentioned it in an interview about a year from now. We'd have had about 30 soldiers die, but it would have been helicopter crashes and singular shootings and the occasional contractor who gets murdered or beheaded. And they would have gone, well, we're going to stay in until we can keep the oil, or the lithium in this case.
4 days later, all U.S. forces were gone.
Right. And as has been pointed out, this dude left Afghanistan facing forward. He was walking into the airplane. He wasn't backing into the airplane with his gun facing out. You notice that? Do you notice how he didn't have to back his way into the airplane firing on anybody? He walked out holding his gun in his hand. Look where his hand is on the barrel. It's not even hot. He didn't even have to fire it. He's carrying it with him.
Now we have no diplomatic presence on the ground in Afghanistan. We have no embassy there.
Why would we? We don't recognize the Taliban. There's no functioning government.
Limited intel capabilities, no security forces whatsoever, but there are still hundreds, maybe more than 1,000. They don't know the exact number of Americans.
Well, that's because a lot of them are involved in the opium trade or in arms sales and the like, and have been making millions of dollars while they live there, raising families and working back and forth, and have been making a fine living off the Afghan war for a very long time. That's why we don't know, because they don't necessarily want to tell us. All the staff are gone. Everybody who worked for the government and the support staff around them is gone. Sean, why aren't you worried about the Americans that are trapped behind enemy lines, behind the wall of migrants in Mexico who are, sure, they're involved with the cartels, but what about these poor people? Is Joe Biden, with his open border policies, just trying to help them get out from under the cartels?
Americans trapped behind enemy lines, hostages to the whims of the Taliban and probably soon ISIS-K and Al-Qaeda. Thousands more of our Afghan allies, he signed their death certificates, and they remain hopelessly trapped. There is no way out, and now they're at the mercy of the terrorists in the Taliban, and worse. It is the
Anybody else get the feeling he's chubbing as he says this?
Single worst foreign policy failure in my lifetime, one of the worst in American history.
Really? So 600,000 dead Americans during the last year of the Trump administration, and he's suggesting shoving a light bulb up your ass and drinking bleach or pouring it into your lungs anyway. So to be fair, Trump didn't suggest drinking disinfectant, just getting it in your lungs somehow. And by the way, Sean Hannity is one of the people who believes that the Chinese sent the virus over here on purpose. Therefore, again, that would make Trump the president during the worst bioweapon attack in American history. And ultimately, what did he do to push back against it? He sold them the largest order of beef, corn, and soybeans they've ever bought.
This week, Joe Biden, he had to congratulate himself. Mission accomplished. Job well done. And goes on to say it is an extraordinary success, the right, the wise, the best decision. Really?
Yes, to get out of Afghanistan now, yes. A wise decision. It is unwise to keep going in that conflict for no fucking reason. Wasting lives and American money, holding bases we do not need anymore. If we ever did.
Take a look.
The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals. Now,
by the way, Sean Hannity does not believe that is the case, that our military and the military intelligence and the soldiers on the ground were a complete failure, and they deserve, as equal blame because they followed the orders of Joe Biden and they should have fought back against it or something. I don't know.
Say we should have started mass evacuation sooner. And couldn't this have been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree.
Joe Biden has
Look, he even cut in the same pieces that Diamond and Silk did. You don't think they're all like powwowing about the right message and their attack on Biden about this? They're all trying their best, and they all have to make the same cuts to make it look like they're making any sense at all, and they don't. I mean, it's obviously garbage, but
this country, and we will never forget it. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
yeah, I hope you never forget that Joe Biden is the president that got us out of Afghanistan. I don't even know why they think this is a win. I mean, obviously, you try and make your enemy's strengths into a weakness and make them blow up, you know, as they try to make their weaknesses into strengths. I get that, because that's the only way that you can, you know, you can push back when you're on the losing side, right? But there is nowhere in this this argument that we were going to keep Bagram forever, which was never on the menu, ever. I mean, there's not even oil to be had there. It's super weird. And there's no functioning government. Why the fuck would we have an embassy full of civilians in Kabul when the government sucked and fucked off and the that sounded weird, but you know, they sucked and then they fucked off and they left, you know, and the military, you know, it's like that line, you know, I quote in Full Metal Jacket all the time. You want some Marvin rifles? Never been fired and only dropped once.
Click here to subscribe.
Just what a lazy son of a bitch.